All right. Good morning. I think we're broadcasting. I still have to get used to this OBS and now the big screen. But then when the screen gets bigger, then the resolution or the zooming in gets greater. And I really don't want all these close-ups. But good morning. Uh, who am I? I don't know. Who the hell are you? If I'm not the me, then who the hell am I? I am Tim Parsons. I have 43 years of experience in the HVACR and hot side. Not really hot side all that amount of time. Maybe half of that time. In the HVAC industry. Started in 1983. My dad's company. I got to give a little biography here, background. 1983 and offered me a chance to get into this industry. I obliged. I said, of course, could be running half the business, if not all the business, and took them up on it and writing a book about, not really that, not an autobiography, but about this industry. And eventually started my own company in 1998 in the Chicago area and outlying suburbs, and then grew to the Milwaukee, Wisconsin market and outlying areas. Went all the way up to Kohler, and then as far west as Rockford, downtown Chicago, and all the way down to Orland Park, Lansing, actually. These names are fading because I've been out of Chicago for 10 years straight. So I did nothing but corporate restaurant accounts, corporate. I'm not going to name any of them because they've changed ownership. Doesn't really matter. People are probably long gone. Some might still be there. I don't know. But if you can think of names, the corporate sit-down family ones, chances are I've had them as an account. Why am I doing this? I am doing this to... I think I can, if I get out of OSB here and I go to, hang on a minute. And I'm using my Shure mic. Which is a vocal mic, but vocals are vocals, right? It's not bad. I mean, for singing, I love this mic. Just too lazy to put my PR40 in. Okay, so I don't know if any chat's going on. I really don't know if anything's going on. Let me look before I waste my time. And I said learning curve. I get used to this. And I know I probably just lost a lot of people's attention span, which is usually 15 seconds. You don't see me on there. Your videos. Got it. Yeah, no, I don't see anything. What about live history playlist, your videos? I don't think I'm broadcasting. That's kind of weird. Let me open up a browser window here and see what the heck's going on. La 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 la. Time to waste time. There's me. View your channel. Here's what tell me right here. Tell me right here. Yeah, it's live. All right, so whatever. Okay, so it'll get better. I mean, I am not a professional YouTuber, digital creator, whatever you want to call it. Not yet, at least. So, like I was saying, customers, manufacturers, factory service reps, pretty much done it. I've been called an expert in my field. Now, why is there a freaking red dot? Oh, because I'm recording. All right. Not to toot my own horn, but just to say, why should you listen to me? And it's like, well, you really shouldn't, but you should at least pay attention and think about what I'm saying. I've been called an expert in this industry by customers and by people. And really specifically, because I can't tell a service technician what to do and how to do it on a PM, preventive maintenance program, because that is dictated by, well, nowadays, customers and software. And I'm not really going to get into that because it's pointless. Or it's dictated by the operator of the business, which that's where it should come from. But I'm going to probably direct this at customers because I've heard it all the time. Oh, it's preventative maintenance is a waste of money and this and that and everything else. And I'm not spending any money. My stuff's not breaking. Hello? It's like, I'm wasting my money at the gym and eating right and everything else, and I'm wasting my money on health insurance because I never get sick. Yeah. All true. All being counter-logistic bullshit facts. Yes. So, if I cancel my gym membership and quit eating this clean, expensive food, I'm going to save money. Now, see, money's a balloon, okay? God, I wish people, if you get anything out of this, get this. Okay. Money's a balloon. Whether it's a kid's balloon, oblong, shaped like a wiener, whatever. Hot dog, wiener dog. I'll correct myself because I don't want to offend anybody. Whatever the balloon shape is, it's money. Okay. And inside that is money. So if you squeeze it, I'm going to save money. What happens? The balloon gets bigger on the other side or whatever. Well, look at all the money we saved, slash air in the balloon. No, it just got shoved to the other side. Wherever you cut, allegedly, costs is affected somewhere in the operations of a restaurant, specifically restaurants, because I know these places in my sleep. In a restaurant, you're just shoving it to the other side of the balloon, and eventually you're going to pay. I mean, there's no net zero sum when you do business like that. I'm just telling you. You just don't. Well, I got a company that's going to charge me less for the same stuff. Yeah, okay. Doubt it. But specifically, I'm going to save money because I'm not doing this PM, or a company's cheaper because I got 3 bids, which is really dumb. Not trying to be an asshole. Don't treat people like you don't want to be treated, okay? So if someone comes into your restaurant and looks at the menu and then picks up their phone and then looks at your neighboring competitor's menu and finds out they're cheaper, and calls Uber and says, "Hey, I'm here, but I want this because you guys are going to save me $5 on my lunch dinner bill, whatever. So I'm just going to have it delivered here." That's the mentality that is being used. And it's like, I don't care to a degree if you want to keep me honest as a service provider. I don't care. And you go, hey, Tim, look, I had another company in here. They said this, they said that. And they're cheaper, or actually, just for disclosure, they were higher than you. I mean, I've quoted preventative maintenance for customers, and they go, "You're too low." Too low. Just for a fact out there, service providers do not make any money or a very slim profit on preventative maintenance. Okay, there's a lot of reasons why, because there's not a lot of money in them. If they're usually performed by a preventative maintenance technician. However, I had my guys do it, journeymen, because they had their own accounts, and it was kind of like they were running their own little small business, and they were accountable for those stores no matter what. But there's so many variables in this, because the term preventative maintenance is open to what that is. Okay. Some customers, especially corporate, big box, whatever, corporate chains, have their own list. Okay. I mean, again, I'm not going to eat at your restaurant and go, look, I want this type of meat prepared this way at this temperature and blah, blah, blah. Because I'm the customer, and I'm there for your product and service. And it's far for me to tell you how to provide your product and service to me. I can give you feedback, but I sure as hell ain't going to go to a degree in micromanaging and say, this is how I want to prepare it, and this and everything else, and I want it in 10 minutes or whatever. It's not in the realm of customer demands, nor should it be in preventative maintenance. Because if you have to do that, then the service provider that you've been using in the past, present, or possibly future don't know what the hell they're doing. And preventative maintenance for most service providers, it's a nuisance. Now, I'm going to watch that, because story time, there's such thing as a legal term. I'm a lawyer, looked it up, I used it, and I got it shoved in my ass in an email saying nuisance service calls, to prevent nuisance service calls. I recommend we do this, do that, or there's a checklist for the customer to check the breaker, make sure it's plugged in, blah, 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 blah. Take temperatures of the product after the busy time or rush or whatever. And I lost six accounts, 6 locations of a big account, because I used the term nuisance and was accused of calling them a nuisance. So the term comes from contracts, service contracts, full service contracts, any contract, if it's in there, saying that if, let's say, full service contract, which includes labor except overtime. Don't recommend them, but, and it says if we run a service nuisance service call, customer will be invoiced accordingly for all costs, including labor, which means it was turned off, unplugged, nothing wrong with it, all the above. And yeah, so that was just really absurd, actually, because it's a legal term, and sometimes you're dealing with people that just don't know. Again, really don't crawl into my territory, and I won't crawl into your territory, but that's long gone. That's the Overton window, or the dividing line, or respectable line in the sand has been crossed probably irrevocably forever. But most preventative maintenances are considered nuisances by most companies. Now, that's bullshit because, well, no, that's really true. There's either, like my company, was PM centered, okay? Focus PM centered. Do the PM. Make sure everything's working right. Be proactive. Tell the customer in a predictive manner, predictive maintenance, I like to call it, that, well, we found this condenser fan motor that has bad bearings, and yeah, it's going to run until it gets 90 degrees outside, and you're going to go off on high head pressure, and then we're going to come out here and tell you, probably on overtime, that you need a condenser fan motor, which we got in the truck, but we told you this before, and people rarely listen to that.
I'll worry about the brakes.
Or heat startup on a rooftop unit, and you have a bad heat exchanger, or you have a bad ignition module and it's two-stage heat, or you have a bad flame sensor, or whatever, whatever, rollout switch, whatever it is.
Well, I'll worry about it when it gets
Cold. Well, okay. And like I said, it'll be overtime, and won't have the part because some things just are not in truck stock. And you're paying for an overtime call without any resolution, and you just increased your R&M, thinking that you save money by not fixing your equipment, because the mentality even more now is do your numbers, do your quarterly numbers, meet your numbers, and it's like, again, the balloon thing. Well, yeah, we didn't fix that, although Tim said to, and found it on a preventative maintenance program that we're paying for, and you squeezed the balloon and it went into the next quarter. And you have another emergency service call, and quite possibly a return trip when you got an estimate that was good for 30 days to fix it when we're slow. And we did our job, and we did the preventative maintenance, and that's what you're paying for. And this is more ideological and philosophical, or actually managerial style, more than what to do, because I was going to come on here and say what needs to be done, and I still will, but I'm giving you examples that are at the customer's fault, because they want a preventative maintenance program, and then when you tell them something's wrong, or even worse, well, I called ABC company and got a bid, and they did it cheaper, and then they don't even tell you that. So there has to be exclusivity, because again, PMs are nuisance if not a PM-centered company like mine was, because you don't make any money on preventative maintenance. You got a business, change filters and pressure wash and stuff, change belts, and then just sequence of operation, or making sure it's doing what it's supposed to be doing. And the bread and butter goes to your competitor, and that's like having the recipe to Coca-Cola, which this happened, by the way. Someone somehow got it, allegedly working at Pepsi, an employee, and gave it to allegedly the CEO at the time, and they didn't even look at it, and they gave it back to Coke. I don't know if that's true or not. It's kind of the same thing, because service companies have, at least I did, I guess I should say. I don't know anymore, to be honest. But service companies try to hire the best technician under all the challenges that they have. And costs right now are, of course, astronomical. And efficiency and hiring the best people for the job is more important and imperative on success of that service provider than ever before. And it's also imperative for you, the customer, to get what you're paying for. And if you go outside that partnership, you're in Pandora's box, and people just don't think that.
Well, it's been working and it's fine.
And it isn't a problem. And they were X amount of dollars cheaper than you. Well, the talent lies in the diagnosing of something, not replacing the part. And then that goes into the realm. Well, if market's going to start saying,
Well, we're going to get a second opinion, third opinion, whatever.
and or call somebody else and take the cheapest bid because we're going to save money according to running reports and logistics and everything else, information, that's a path to failure. And then somebody like me is like, all right, if you're going to do that, then you're going to pay a diagnostic fee, or you're going to pay a higher diagnostic labor rate than you are for repair. And if it's like all on the same call, spent 4 hours diagnosing, $250 an hour, repaired, replaced part, checked operation, $150 an hour. You can't go around a service provider like that. But people do, and they think it saves money. And there has been many, many customers of mine that did that, and they're no longer in business. So it doesn't work that way in the service industry. It might work that way with buying widgets or raw materials or food costs or whatever. It might work. I don't know. I never done that. I didn't have that type of company. However, in the service industry, HVACR, refrigeration, that doesn't work. And then if it's like, if we have a partnership between my company and you, and
Well, Tim will give you 10
stores, 20 stores, 100 stores, whatever, but we want you to carry high volume parts. I go, okay, well, I don't know which ones you want me to carry, but if you don't mind, I'll talk to my guys and we'll brainstorm and say, hey, what are we finding out there failing on whatever at this account, and we'll carry it in the truck, and then we got the part in the truck, so the downtime's minimal, which means efficiency's gone up in all aspects, reducing costs to the customer, and your technician in 8 hours can run 5 service calls, not every single day, but 3 to 5 for sure, without any added stress or running around or having to come back or anything of the kind. That's why these NTEs at $2,500 are awesome, and the NTEs at $500 are ridiculous, because you just created another service call. So something that could have been $600 now with the return call because the NTE's over, and I don't want to hear this.
Well, you could have called and got the
NTE raised. No, I don't have time for that shit. It is what it is. It's like a credit card limit. It's 10 grand. You can't go over, and it's over the limit fees and all this bullshit. I'm not going to call my credit card company because they are questioning my credit worthiness for whatever reason. And fuck you, I'll get another card. I mean, I don't have time for that. You either approve it or you don't. And if you don't, I'm moving on. Because you're the ones that are putting the restriction on me being able to do my job. Sorry, this is real stuff here. This stuff that's going on right now is backfiring, and it's holistic or going exponential, and then people just can't figure out what the hell's going on. And that's what's going on. And I'm not even going to dip my toe into the magic software thing, because therein lies 90% of the problems. So just go diagnose it, fix it, back it up for 30 days and get the hell out of there and let the technician do their job. Can't do that anymore. So back to why I'm doing this. on preventative maintenance is we're right around the corner from getting hot because summer is on its way. All of your equipment under your roof, HVACR, reach-ins, ice machines, rooftops, walk-ins, everything and anything that gets cold is going to be stressed out. So what is the best way to make sure that your equipment is running at its highest efficiency and you're not going to be concerned or worried about it operating or having emergency calls and losing what now? A good 8x10 or 10x12 or whatever size walk-in fully jam-packed for the weekend has what? Probably $30,000 of food in it. Or if you have a rack system, which pretty much is archaic nowadays, and the rack goes down, all your refrigeration goes down. Your 3 walk-ins, usually there's 3, sometimes 4 with the beer walk-in. Produce, food, freezer, beer. So you have to make sure as a customer that that stuff is ready to go and is going to operate at its design parameters. Now, for the most part, people are going to pick this apart. Go ahead. Because there's no perfect sized and installed equipment at any location. Well, put it this way. Most restaurants, there are some locations, but I'm specifically talking about restaurants. Once it gets above 95 degrees outside on the roof or wherever the condensing unit's sitting, which is the outdoor unit, you're going to start losing capacity, okay? Which means most walk-ins are sized for 12,000, 14,000 BTU load, accordingly with the evaporator and a condensing unit. Once you start going above 95 degrees and the condensing temperature gets warmer and hotter, you lose your capacity. So now, let's say your 12,000 BTU walk-in is good for 10,000. And the hotter it goes and the longer it's warm outside, the more that decreases because the system can't reject that heat. Refrigeration is nothing more than transferring heat from here to there. And air conditioning, same thing. You're taking heat from here and getting rid of it there. And not really rid of it, but transferring it into the ambient air. First law of thermodynamics. The best way that does that is making sure that the condenser coil's clean and the fan motor is good and it's running the right way. And the best way for that, preventative maintenance, is, this is going to be debated too, a pressure washer with a white tip, either electric or what's best is a gas pressure washer. Good luck pulling it up on the roof, but you can hook up 100-foot hoses to it. And using a safe, biodegradable chemical, which I've used Simple Green forever. There's stuff on the market, all this magic stuff. That's great. It's like, oh, no, because this magic crap works great and this and that. Look at it, foam and all this. Yeah, but see, you're not a business owner, okay? Because if you don't wear the right protective gear, the PPP or whatever, you could end up going to the doctor for skin grafts, and this happens because this stuff is so acidic or based on the pH scale that it just eats anything it touches, including your eyeballs. So it's like, oh, this stuff's great, everything else, this and that, and take a video. And, okay, can I see your workman's comp claims? I can guarantee you're not going to the doctor or the hospital for the most part. I'm sure someone can find a way that if you're working with Simple Green degreaser, it's a degreaser and it works. And sometimes it doesn't burn it clean. I mean, NASCAR used it or still does on their racetracks when there's an accident to get rid of the oil. So I got it with my YZ125, a bottle of it when I bought it because I got an extra kit. And I'm like, man, this shit's great. I bet this will work great on condenser coils. And I've been using it ever since. Self-contained pump sprayer, 50-50 ratio. It's cheap. It's 10 to $12 a gallon. Hell, who knows? It could go up overnight. You could buy it in bulk and save even more. No, I'm not telling you as a customer to do your own PM. I'm just telling you what I've done. It's been proven to work. And you can use it on evaporator coils, which for some reason doesn't exist. If you're not getting your evaporator coil cleaned and the drain pan cleaned and the drain line cleaned, then you're not getting a PM. I don't know what for the life of me. It's like saying, oh, I only have one eye. Well, no, you don't, Tim. You got two eyes. Well, yeah, but we're not going to worry about that one. We're just going to worry about this one, i.e. condenser coil, evaporator coil. Oh, we got two eyes. No, we don't need to worry about the other one. Don't worry about it. It's ridiculous. It's part of my vision as a human being to use both eyes, i.e. a condenser coil, evaporator coil is a part of the system. One absorbs heat, one rejects heat. Which one's more important? There isn't. It's the system. Which one's more important, my left eye or my right eye? Dumb as that sounds, but that's what it is. Because then you're going to eliminate or reduce dramatically. Oh, we got water leaking through the rooftop in the ceiling or return air grill. Yeah, because you didn't clean the drain pan and the evaporator. And I'll get into this with filters. Now, I don't think they sell them anymore, so I'm told, because I haven't bought a filter in fucking forever. Home Depot's got them, but the fiberglass filters, that's what I use. If you can't get that, then the cheapest MERV rating, I don't know, 4.2, 4.6, whatever. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of high density filters in commercial. And I'm a fan of changing them every 30 days, which everybody thinks ridiculous. It's not. And just enough to filter the air to keep the coil clean and filter the air. Because if you do an air conditioning startup in your preventative maintenance program, which you should have, then you're going to wash down and clean the evaporator coil anyway. So it's really not prevalent to using very expensive air filters. Not to mention the static that it puts on it. And when they start plugging up, they start restricting airflow. And now you just hurt the efficiency of your unit from lack of airflow, which is going to throw your building out of air balance, which is a whole different thing I've talked about umpteen times. And you'll be in a negative, and you don't want to do that. So the condenser coil should be cleaned on your refrigeration tube, ice machine, anything that has a condenser coil. And that should be done, except with the rooftops units, should be done. Self-contained ice machines should be done every 90 days. Okay. Pressure washed. Well, not necessarily pressure washed. I mean, that's a one-time thing because you drag it out for the rooftops. But you're an asshole if you don't spray them out and pressure wash them if you get the pressure washer right there. Anything that has a condenser should be pressure washed. I have seen that if we were late on doing pressure washing and it got hot, like now, it's 95, Tim, in March and our store's hotter than fuck. Yeah, because we didn't do an AC startup and we didn't pressure wash your condenser coils. And this stuff is so marginally sized that if the condenser coil is not clean, it's not going to cool the store. I've seen it. And the compressors are going to overamp or run at FLA, full load amperage. Your utility bills are going to go through the roof, and the thing's never going to shut off. I can't pet you, sweetheart. Not right now. Come on, go lay down. But not to mention the benefit of lowering energy costs. So it's a money saving thing, but you can't see it until you save the money. Kind of like I have a Tesla. How much money am I saving compared to buying gas in a gas fueled combustion engine, petrol? According to my Tesla app on my phone. Well, I can't see that until I charge my car. You can't see these savings until after the fact. It's not predictive. It's not projectable. It is what it is. I mean, I don't know how many times I'm going to charge my car. I don't know where I'm going to go. I don't know what I'm going to do. So, but to say I'm not going to charge my car, or even worse, I'm only going to spend this much on charging my car is absurd. I need my car. I got to take a break really quick. All right. So, there's a lot of glare. Sun must be hitting right through that window the right way to cause all of that. So all this has been acquired by experience. Nobody's told me this. Nobody's done it. It's been revealed to me after doing it for decades. Okay. I'll give one example, and then I'm going to give my opinion based on experience and intervals. Not necessarily what to do, but like you should have all your rooftops on 30-day air filter changes and yada, yada, yada. I'm going to go down there. I'm going to give an example here because people are going to go. I know they are because I've heard it, and it's really bad now. I don't need to do that because somebody else told me I didn't have to, and I don't want to spend all that money on 30-day air filter changes. Okay. Not to mention in my makeup air unit, making sure that that's working properly because the outdoor air filters are plugged up. And you don't know because of cottonwood, this, that, whatever. Okay. So you decide, nope, not going to do it. Tim's full of shit. I can't afford it. Blah, 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 blah. Well, let's say your gas-fired food service equipment, fryer. Let's just say a fryer. And this gets into airflow and all this other crap, and I'm not going to get into it that far. This is just an example. Fryer keeps going out on rollout switch. One of them, I don't know why. I don't know if there's a bank of 5 or 6, but just this one. Oh, or a fryer, and and your hot water heater goes out, and it keeps rolling out, going out on a rollout switch, if it has one. So you call a plumber, they're cheap. You call your food service guy, they're cheap. You got 2 problems, and I don't know, the food technician goes, well, the flame condition's kind of weird and this and that. It's rolling out a little bit. Let's just change rollout switch and see if that does it. And then for some strange fucking reason, it does. Okay, whatever. Plumber comes out. Well, yeah, we got a rollout here, so I don't know. You probably need an induced draft, whatever you want to call them, ventilator, power booster, power venter, whatever you want to call it, and put it on the flue of the 100-gallon hot water heater, atmospheric burner. Okay, well, let's do that because I need hot water. And you do that, and that costs you $1 million. And it works. So everything's great, right? Well, why is the flame condition not proper, or not correct on the fryer? Why is the hot water heater rolling out? And I have seen this. Hey, Tim, the plumber says we need another ventilator on the other hot water heater, and we want you to look at it. I'm like, okay. This is a customer didn't even like me. It's like, okay. So I don't do plumbing, okay, but I'll look at it. And it was in a mechanical room, pretty big one. And it had like a gravity-fed makeup air hood, okay. So I went on the roof, I took off the gravity-fed hood, and underneath it was chicken wire for filter to keep out varmints or everything else. And it was plugged solid with dirt. And the only way you could see it is to take off the hood. So I cleaned that up, everything else, put it back on, looked at the flame condition on the hot water heater, and everything looked great, and the problem went away. What I'm saying right now is that if you don't get your filters changed in your rooftop every 30 days to maintain maximum airflow, you could have a negative air condition. What is that? I have no fucking idea. I'm not going to tell you what it is in water column because I really don't even know. I mean, the best way is to get the store balance and see what it is compared to atmospheric, I guess. And I'm not an airflow expert. And then comparatively trend it and see what it is. I mean, all I do, and the people are going to go, what? I don't have these magic meters or all this kind of crap. I have a digital manometer that reads differential. But what I do is I open up the front door and I prop it open, front door and middle door, vestibule doors, to the space. And everything's operating. And I go to the bathroom and I get a piece of toilet paper about 6 feet long. I hang it from the middle of the door frame on the outside front door, and I let it dangle. And when it's drifting in just a little, drifting into the store, I'm in just a tad of a negative. Perfect. Never had problems doing that with anything. If it's pushing out, we're in a positive. We can't do that. That's just as bad or can be as being a negative. If the toilet paper goes like this and gets drawn in, I'm in a severe negative. I have to fix that. Very simple. People that are in Florida, here's a little tip for you. When it gets hotter, and I did service in Florida for almost 2 years, not to mention Chicago. It's kind of the same thing. Florida's hell on earth, though, with humidity and when it gets hot in August and other months. But I ran calls in the ductwork. The exposed ductwork in the restaurant was sweating. Sweating. You got to fix this. Okay, well, what was happening was when the front doors were open and all that hot, humid air came rushing in and hit that ductwork, there was obviously at or below dew point condensed on the ductwork, and it was horrible. And all I did was open the outside air on a rooftop to doing what I said with the toilet paper, and it went away. And people are going to go, wait a minute. You opened up outside air to let more hot air in the building through the rooftop unit and the outdoor air hood, and it made the problem go away. Yeah, because all that moist, hot air as soon as those doors were open, then comes sucking in and hitting that exposed ductwork. Mm-hmm. But if your air balance or your outside air or airflow or all the above is altered in any way, shape, or form, you're going to have that problem. And now you have another service call at $300 to $500. And I pray God that your service technicians know how to fix it. And a lot of guys would close the outside air.
Oh, there's too much outside air coming in, all this humidity. We don't need this.
And he just made it worse. All these things that you can't see as a technician or a customer, and you don't know. And as a customer, you don't really need to know. Just like I don't need to know the recipe to how you make that awesome chili or whatever, you know. I don't unless I have an allergic reaction to some ingredients. I don't need to know that. It's great. Give me more so I can get fatter. And I'll come back. So here's the intervals. Okay. And it's really hard because I just want to stick with the rooftops, but there's other equipment that needs preventative maintenance. Okay. Let's just say this. Everything downstairs, condenser coils need to be chemically cleaned with Simple Green every 90 days. Originally, they might need to be blown out with nitrogen, CO2, be brushed off with a brush, which they need that anyway every 90 days, and then just take a pump sprayer, not you, the service contractor, pump it up, wash it out a few times. After 2 or 3 PMs, that condenser coil is going to be spotless. Okay? Because that'll take the load when it gets hot off of the unit when it needs its maximum capacity, design capacity, and parameters. Which, sad to say, most of them are undersized, especially to be in a hot kitchen. God forbid you don't have air conditioning because there's just nothing you can do. Your condensing temperatures can be way too high. So that's not going to work, especially on the line. And God forbid you have pans on top and don't have a cold plate and they're getting cute and blowing cold air on the bottom, discharge air, which is creative but creates airflow issues and really doesn't work. Not for keeping temperature below 40. And then make sure the door gaskets are good and they're sealing and evaporator fan motors are running. The thing ain't froze up. Same for your walk-ins, but that got it. I hope your ice machines and your walk-ins are remoted to the roof. I'm assuming they are. But the evaporator's got to be cleaned on the walk-ins every quarter for maintaining airflow. I'm not even going to get into settings of thermostats and off-cycle time clocks because that's imperative. Otherwise, you're going to freeze up. Even installation of evaporators are sometimes wrong and they're starving for air or they're blocked. You cannot block airflow intake sides or in the front of the evaporator with product. You can't. I know you'd like to. I see it all the time. You can't do it. You need at least 2 feet of space around that. Just my opinion. Ice machine should be cleaned depending on how bad your water is with a high quality commercial Everpure water filter system, period. Don't go cheap on that. In Chicago, where the water's 10 grains of hardness from Lake Michigan, I'll dare say you don't even need a water filter system. People argue that, especially people that sell water filter systems. But in a part of the country, if you're on well water, part of your state, if you weren't on Lake Michigan water in Chicago on a well water or aquifer, you were in trouble. But your ice machine should be cleaned at least once a year, depending on your water condition and usage. But I'd say water conditions really key. Condenser coil should be cleaned quarterly. If you pressure wash all your stuff on the roof, then you can get away with just brushing it off or blowing it out the rest of the PM surfaces as a technician. You don't need to pressure wash it every 3 months, for the most part. Belt should be changed on anything that has a belt on the roof every or twice a year. The belt that is being taken off and replaced in the equipment should be left as a spare. You should never have a call on a broken belt. Period. Makeup air, outdoor air filter should be cleaned, and outside air filters on a rooftop for the economizer, outside air, same thing, should be cleaned every 90 days, especially if the economizer, if you have one, is being used, if it works. But even then, you got minimal air. I was taught 10% is a pretty good place to start with your outside air damper open manually. Or physically manually, just by locking it if it has a mechanical lock with a wing nut. Really old school. No economizer. Evaporators on rooftops should be cleaned once a year with the drain pan and the drain line with the pressure washer. Now, well, Tim, the fins are going to get bent on the condenser coil and even the evaporator coil because it's a 90-degree angle access. Yeah, well, Home Depot sells a flexible, bendable ball joint tip that goes onto your pressure washer for putting in the white tip. So it makes the wand with the ball joint to go 45 and 90 specifically. That's how you clean condenser coils that are V, that are quote-unquote the Lennox style, first generation and beyond. LGA rooftop units and getting into evaporator coils, and then especially in the bottom of them where the lip is, because if that lip's got dirt, this, that, whatever on it, it's the capillary attraction is going to go down over the pan or behind the pan, or it's not going to go in the pan because water has that from the Coanda effect, and I'm not getting technical, it's just what it is, and it's going to attract and just stay on the path of where it's going when it should be going into the drain pan, and it's not going to because it's dirty. And I'm probably leaving some things out, but the whole rooftop unit should be checked out by a technician on a PM. Condenser fan motor, bearing end play, blower motor end play, rotation, pulley condition, bearings on the blower, pillow block. Everybody's getting away from that and going to these very expensive ECM motors. Not a fan. Not a fan. I changed one on one unit, a 5-ton unit, and the fucking thing was $1,300 because it's a whole assembly. Looks like something off of a drone or something. I don't know how they expect people.
Well, yeah, but you're going to save $5 a month on your electric bill because it's an ECM motor.
The fucking thing cost $1,500. Really? And it wasn't that old. A year or two, right out of warranty, of course. So whatever. I'm not going to win against the green people. That's what's going to cost you, though. Green. It's going to cost you green. Contactor coils, electrical, burnt wiring, all that should look. I'm a fan of mega ohmic compressors with a Supco. There'll be more arguments on this. $120 Supco, idiot proof, push the button. Tells you what your mega ohm reading is on your compressor. that can save a compressor due to moisture and you can clean it up sometimes, or there's nothing you can do. And sometimes you have to change oil in a compressor, but that's a lot of labor and a lot of money. And sometimes you just better off letting it go. Maybe change a dryer, evacuate it. Virgin refrigerant, sometimes it cleans up, sometimes it don't. Suction filter dryer, I don't know. Something to get moisture and contaminants out of there. Clean up the oil. And you can save the compressor or you can extend its life. In some instances, you can't. If it's right on the verge of yellow and red and it's bad, you have a very low high resistance. That makes sense. Low high resistance to ground. And you're probably blowing breakers and you don't know why, because it's sensing to ground and then higher amperage and all the things that happen with wonderful electricity and the laws of it. And you'll be popping a breaker that's a nuisance call and you have no idea why. It could be. I got a story when I was in Phoenix. I wish I could remember the Copeland-Medic, semi-hermetic, 35 horse on a walk-in at a drugstore, national drugstore. And they sent me out. It's like, oh, we can't figure out why this keeps blowing the breaker. So the customer's getting pissed. So I checked everything from Sunday and I mega ohmed the compressor on a 35 horse. I want to say like an LAC one, but that ain't right. I mean, this was not a K body or whatever, or maybe even an L. I can't remember, but it is the size of a car engine, 35 horsepower. And I shot the windings with my mega ohm meter, and it was on the verge of going into bad. It was like one light away from yellow to red, bad. And I said, we have a high resistance ground compressors. Bad, going bad. So it runs. So I told him that. And apparently the customer got pissed. And I got yelled at. And I quit. Okay. A couple weeks later, I ran into the service supervisor manager. And he goes, hey, Tim, from the company I just quit from. Hey, Tim. I need to tell you that, that call you ran and that compressor you said was going bad or bad. Well, it went bad. I go, yeah. And? If you put your hand to a flame, you're going to burn it. Hey, Tim, remember when you said when you're going to take your hand and put it to a flame, you're going to burn it? You said you're full of shit and you quit. Well, yeah, a guy did that and he burned his hand. Yeah. Am I always right? Is this egotistical or narcissistic or whatever? No. No, it's factual. I don't have any pride. Oh, told you so. I was like, whatever. My job is to do my job and diagnose something correctly and repair it. And when I do that, great. When I'm hindered from it, not so great. I don't do it for accolades or recognition or smiley faces or stars on my homework or whatever. I could give two flying fucks about that. It's about taking care of the customer. But some guys, you can't tell them nothing. I know everything. There's nothing more to know. Really? Well, let's throw you on a VRF system.
What's that?
Yeah, exactly. Let's throw you on a Manitowoc 1800 remote. Old HPR system, cool vapor, quiet cube, whatever the fuck they want to call it. Let's throw you on that. Let's throw you on a Follett, whatever. Have fun. I thought you knew everything.
Well, I know something about it.
Yeah, okay, something ain't enough. So some guys just, their ego's through the roof. They're like, no offense to anybody, they're just like musicians that, they're without them, there's no band. And that may be true, but to use that and weaponize that and get all the recognition and talent, it ain't gonna work. It's not gonna work. Because I probably forgotten more than I fucking remember. And I know a lot, and I figured a lot of things out. And that's not an ego, that's fact. But then when you share it, and then stuff like this compressor story, oh, it's a bunch of horse shit. There's no way that happened. Okay, I don't fucking care. Believe it or not, I'm doing this to help you. You don't want to. This is what I tell guys when I start working somewhere, because I give up being in management and any type of leadership program because it's nothing of the kind. It's more like being a babysitter in reactive management and micromanaging software that fucks everything up, and you're supposed to fix it when you can't. All right? So I'll be a service tech probably till I die. Maybe. I don't know. Who knows? I'd rather be a consultant, but I tell guys this when I'm working with them. I go, okay, here's what's going on. Would you like to learn in 15 minutes here in this and what to look for? Or would you rather do it on your own and eventually learn it in 43 years? And that's what I say. It doesn't matter to me. I don't fucking care. But if I had a guy say that to me when I was 19, 20, first 5 years in this business, I'd be like, no, show me. But I learned how not to do it. Trial and error, very expensive way, very risk-taking and improper and not the right way to do it. And that's what's lacking. And then you get guys like me, and there's plenty of them, that want to share their knowledge, but they need to eat and survive. And people that are educated or educators or disruptors, I'm a disruptor of the disruptors. They don't like me. I don't care. I don't really give a shit. Okay? Because you disrupt to a point where you're going to piss people off. And those are the ones that are usually paying your bills. Now, that's probably smart, because the last thing you want to do is fuck yourself, but that doesn't solve the problem. It's like, well, I'm just going to half braise that joint, not the other half. I.e., if you don't confront people fully with disrupting the system, you're not going to fix it. And that's shame on you, because that's your job as a technician. Let alone someone like me, I feel I'm obligated to share this stuff. That's it. I don't care. But it also would be nice to monetize what I'm saying, because it cost me something to get this. I have no problem like this. I mean, there's no charge for this. I don't even really know if this is being monetized. I really don't. I was doing a podcast. I did one episode, and it got great response and this and that, and it was pennies, But I'm like, that's cool, but I don't. It's like 10 cents a fucking month or something, or $1 a month, 10 cents a day. I don't remember the math. I don't care. But guys like me, they want to teach. They want to pass this knowledge on. If you met a Shaolin monk, which you probably wouldn't, and you're learning Kung Fu, whatever animal style, whatever Northern Shaolin, that's what I was learning at one time. Wouldn't you want to talk to that monk and get as much information and knowledge that you could to learn your art of Kung Fu, which you would never in a lifetime? Of course you would. But the monk, it's just like Dr. Strange, which I just saw the other night, and she told him, because he was a dick, because he said, teach me, and she said no, he didn't even ask, because he's a narcissistic Dr. Strange asshole. Didn't even ask, demanded. And she goes, no. Because some people don't want to transfer this knowledge. I don't know why. I mean, if you sense that a guy wants to know, or they say they want to know and then they don't want to know, or you tell them something like they want to learn and then it gets back to you that, well, Bob said you taught. I'm not picking on Bob, but whoever Bob is. Bob said you showed him this, and he talked to other people, and they say that's fucking wrong and you're full of shit. Okay, well, that ends that. Lesson over. I don't share things out of hypothesis or swag, scientific wild ass guess, or whatever. These are proven strategies that work, that make you more marketable and the customer to save money. If you're buying the cheapest equipment on the market, it's going to cost you double.
Well, it's ridiculous. Why?
Because you just bought a fucking Yugo. You just bought something that the reliability and proven reliability over decades isn't there, and you're the test dummy.
Well, yeah, this ice machine costs this, and this one costs that, and I just bought it.
Oh, okay. So you had, this is complimentary. All right, so you had a Manitowoc 1800 remote, okay?
Well, yeah, the thing was ridiculous. It doesn't make fucking everything else.
I got this Acme Roadrunner. Somebody told me there is a company called Acme. Well, Acme makes little fan motors, so that's true. 4M987 Granger number. Evaporator C-frame motor. 115 volt. But I can't remember what the fuck happened yesterday.
Well, yeah, I got it on the internet, and I got the same unit
for half the price, and it's self-contained in a kitchen. So it's, you don't know what you're doing. Then you call the CSR or factory service rep, whatever they fucking call them anymore now, of this Acme Roadrunner company. Oh, yeah, we'll come out. It's still under warranty. Well, warranty doesn't cover everything, and this is one of them. You just put an ice machine in a corner in a kitchen that has too high of an ambient because it's recirculating its own air, and it's hotter than shit in the kitchen in the summertime, and you installed it in a, you didn't install it based on their installation requirements. Sorry, you owe me $500.
I ain't paying that. It's under warranty.
No, it's not under warranty. So, consulting, okay, somebody like me. I mean, it's like, Tim, this is the situation. This is how many seats I got. This is what I have. It's been condemned. Okay, tell me the amount of lumber in the make and everything. Okay. What size bin do you have? Oh, okay, 900, 970, whatever. Okay, 3,000. That's even better. If you don't put an ice machine in with a 60-inch bin with a 30-inch, specifically 2 heads wide, you're making a big mistake. You can put in a 60-inch wide ice machine bin. Okay, I don't care what brand they are. I like Follett or Hockenberg, I think. I don't remember. Right? I don't know. Whatever. Follett's got a great bin. 60-inch wide, and you can put in a single machine with the blank off, okay? 30-inch wide production. I really hate saying this because this is a bad story, but Isomatic makes, and still does, because they didn't change technology on it, thank God. It's still mechanical. ICE 1500, ass-kicking fucking machine. I mean, it's probably my favorite machine of all time, which I spec'd out for a big customer, which I got them into, Isomatic, and at the last minute, they flipped it to an 1800, which is not, I mean, they used to be in Costco in the food court. They used to be on drive-thrus because they got such a high production rate in a 30-inch wide machine. 1,500 pounds. Ass-kicking fucking machine. Am I recommending that machine? No. Because I don't want to. I did that and I got it shoved in my ass. professionally and reputation wise, because because the wonderful things he does. Flat. But if you put a 30-inch wide machine with high production, even 1,000-pounder, I mean, I don't know what size, honestly, what the highest production is, except an isomatic in that size, form factor, 30 inches wide, 1,500 pounds. You can put that in. And if you're busier than shit, or, after your 6 months and then things have calmed down because you're the greatest thing on the planet right now, but your sales don't drop and you keep running out of ice, or the machine never shuts off, or all the above. That's why you want a lot of storage in a 60-inch wide bin. Because not only is production important, so is storage capacity. Like a drive-through dispenser. Well, everything makes 1,500 pounds of ice. Yeah, but it stores 100 pounds of ice if you're lucky. If you don't have the storage capacity, production doesn't really, I'm not going to say it doesn't matter, because it does, but it's important to have, in my opinion, because it's usually like, well, we have a 970 bin, Tim, and a 1,000-pound production machine. Okay, that's a match system. That's great. Well, no, we got a 400-pound bin, a 1,000-pound ice machine. You're gonna run out of ice. What's the size of your restaurant? What's it comparable to? How many seats? Not even that, because nowadays with COVID, the C word, and drive-through and takeout and all this crap and Uber and delivery, the amount of seats that the restaurant holds is irrelevant. Your sales should be based on sales, basically, in a bar, in this and all this crap. I mean, using the sizing back of the day, in the day of, well, how many customers does your store seat? And they tell you 150, 300, whatever. That's how you size. Oh, well, a person uses a pound of ice or 2 pounds of ice a day, whatever formula, so you multiply that and blah, 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 in an hour or whatever, and you come up with your production. And it's fucking wrong. It's just wrong. So my recommendation for free, get yourself a nice 60-inch wide bin that holds 2,000 to 3,000 pounds of ice. Not if you're a coffee shop or something. It's like, well, Tim, we're a coffee shop and we did what you said and it's ridiculous. Yeah, no shit. I mean, really? You don't kill a mosquito with a cannon. Hello? Common sense has to come in there. But if you're a regularly sized restaurant, whatever that means, all the prototypes of all the sit-down family restaurants, okay? 60-inch wide machine, 2,000 to 3,000 pounds. That's excessive, but around 2,000. 60-inch wide bin with the highest production 30-inch wide machine you can get, with a blank off on top. Plop it in the middle or plop it to the left. Even better, get a cutout top, bin top, with 2 ice chute cutouts. Blank off the one, put the machine on the other one, and then it keep running out of ice, because this happened to me. But they didn't tell me that it was a commissary. So I like, how the fuck am I supposed to know? You can tell me that. And this is what I did. And we put in another ICE 1500, and they had ice coming out of their ass because they had 3,000 pounds of production out of 2 heads. And a 2,000 to 3,000 pound bin. Storage bin. It's not rocket science. But, oh, well, it's a lot of money and this and that and everything else. It's like, okay, well, then go buy ice when you run out of ice, and you get charged for, well, your storage capacity is too small, or your ice production's too small, or both of them. Your system's too small, and start buying ice and see how expensive that is. It's a numbers game, but it's not. It is, but it's not. And one thing, since I'm on this, I've been doing this long enough where machines were stacked. I think you can still stack them. I would not do that because the accessibility to the bottom machine is damn near impossible.
Hey, Tim, you said you cleaned our ice machine, and we looked in there with a microscope and a flashlight and white glove, and there's a little bit of mold there on top of that bottom of that machine, It's like, yeah, because I can't fucking get to it. It's inaccessible. Or you crammed it in a corner. Or even, I'm going on rants here, or even when back in the day you put it in a alcove, 2 side walls and a back wall, and you can't get to the fucking machine from the side or the back because it's an eyesore. And you know what? I'm going to say this and I'm going to shut up. Ice machine manufacturers, and actually any equipment manufacturers, you wouldn't know a piece of art if it bit you in the fucking face. Okay. Do I? No, I don't know. I know beauty when I see it. I know that, but I couldn't tell you what a Rembrandt or Da Vinci or Monet painting is to save my fucking life. But I know beauty when I see it, when it's a work of art. Y'all need to go to the Kohler plant in Kohler, Wisconsin, and go through the museum. And it shows the history of the toilet pretty much, bathtub, all that, sinks, whatever. The very first original tub was a horse trough, the round one where the horses drank out of it. And they show at the Kohler plant the evolution. Kohler's a fantastic fucking, should be all in the history books story for a lot of reasons. Americana, like you would not believe. The evolution of the horse trough / bathtub to current bathtubs and options. Not to mention toilets, sinks, faucets, urinals, anything you got to do your business. In the art and elegance that's been put in a toilet. But all your equipment looks like a fucking outhouse instead of an elegant piece of art that when you look at it and go, my dad said this to me. One of the few things that was right, if anything, saying anything to me. If it looks good, Tim, it works good. And he was talking about work, and he was right. If it looks good, it works good. It's beautiful. Reach-ins, under-counters, ice machines, rooftop units. Well, who gives a fuck about rooftop units? They're on the roof. Because you don't think the customer goes on the roof? Look at that thing and go, man, that's a fucking beautiful piece of equipment. Because you admire ability. If there was a beautiful woman standing up there, you think that they would fucking look at that and say something to that? Of course. Or a good-looking guy, handsome guy, bad-looking guy? Of course. Wow. And it would grab the attention of people and go, well, instead of a rattly, square stainless steel looking piece of shit that nobody wants to see, it'd be like, wow, that is a work of art. And then, you know what? For some magical reason, your sales would go up. I don't really give a shit. It's like, I shouldn't share this story. Allegedly, when Nick Giraldo, the guitarist for Pat Benatar, when he auditioned for her band and she was there, she allegedly said, I don't give a shit if he can play guitar or not, hire him because he's hot. They've been married forever now. It's like, I don't care if that fucking rooftop works. I don't care if that ice machine works. That's beautiful. I want that in my restaurant. And you might get lucky. You might have just bought the best piece of equipment on the market or the worst. I don't know. But I sells. Beauty, not sex. Beauty sells. Art sells. Look at cars and on and on and on. That's an awesome car. I want it. Well, yeah, but the reliability of this and that. I don't give a fuck. I want that car. I want the new Corvette. I don't even like Corvettes. I want the new vet because of how it looks. I want to ask that woman out. I want to ask that man out, ladies, which is totally proper. I have more respect for women that do that than don't. Well, it's a game and that's the way it works, and you're supposed to ask me. Okay, whatever. I get a whole discussion on that. Y'all need to go to Kohler. Whoever you are, go to Kohler and learn something. But don't go there if you don't know your ass from a hole in the ground, from a horse trough to take a bath in to an elegant magic whirlpool, beautiful ceramic coated, elegant, curvy, sexy bathtub. You can't tell the difference. Don't go there, because you don't have the ability to see beauty and elegance and art. And how I stumbled on this, I have no fucking idea. But it's all part of it, and it's missing in this industry. You need to hire a person that is in your design with your engineers. That'll be interesting. I want it to look like this. Yeah, but we can't do that because we can't fit all our shit in there. Well, that's too bad. Figure it out, as Steve Jobs would say. Figure it out. There you go right there. Apple Computers. Elegance, art, sexy, beauty, whatever. And whatever you see, the eye of the beholder or the observer or whatever. Observer, right? Perception. You can't tell me a Mac doesn't look more elegant than any other PC. And if it does, it's intentional. Flat panel thermometers, flat panel screens, elegance, just the feel of a Mac keyboard compared to others. It's the experience, It's like you're selling the experience. I don't care how much that costs. I want that. And Steve Jobs' famous quote, when they were trying to figure out what customers want in a meeting, it's like, well, how do we know what they want when they don't know what they want? You don't know what you want. You don't even know if you want an elegant, beauty, artistic, elegant piece of equipment. I don't know why the fuck you wouldn't, because the front of the house sure projects that, I guess, to a degree. Back of the house don't. Why not? I mean, if you just put curves and circles on even exhaust hoods, I mean, right off the bat there, well, that's a sexy fucking exhaust hood. It's an exhaust. Yeah, but I love the elegance and the curves. And again, the quant effect would definitely be reduced on a curved surface than a square corner one. So your airflow efficiency would go up. I mean, I'm not captive air, which I highly recommend for all your airflow situations, but I'm not a fucking engineer. But I don't see why the hell that wouldn't work. It's a lot easier to get stuff to go around a curve than a corner or in a corner or create a corner. Less resistance, turbulence, all in 9 yards. Just think of air like water and visualize it. And no, because all that water, when it hits a corner, it's going to do this and splash and this and that and everything else and go in every direction. Where if it was a curve, it would just follow the curve. And there'd be hardly any resistance, more efficiency, just not fighting nature. 90-degree turn compared to a bank turn. Same thing. All right, I come on here and I go, what the fuck am I going to talk about? And what am I going to say? And an hour and a half is more than enough and probably too much. Should be 45 minutes to an hour tops. But I just keep rolling with this stuff. And that's what I'm going to do. And everything that I've said, every single thing, My intention, my narrative, my whatever is to inform you or put you on a path to go, well, Tim's full of shit. I don't believe that, but I'm going to look into it. Then look into it and do what you need to do. Whether you're a customer, manufacturer, technician, engineer, and everybody in between, I guess, just like this. And this is it, I promise. Magic software. Okay. I've never been invited. I've talked to some of these people. I know they don't listen. And I know that because I had one phone meeting with them, and they canceled it because they didn't want to hear what I had to say. If you got, and I just said this in an interview, and I lost a job because of it. It's like, it's so ridiculous. Really? There's an 800-pound gorilla over there. Oh, well, sorry, you can't say that. You're fired. Or no, we're not hiring you because you pointed out the 800-pound gorilla in the room.
Okay.
If you got guys like me, okay, and I'll do it for free. I've done this. I drove all the way to Minneapolis headquarters of a manufacturer because they couldn't fix their fucking reach-ins they were selling to one of my customers. And the engineer sat in there, Scott, and he goes, yeah, you're right. We need to fix that. Wow. First time, only time it's ever happened in my career. Ever. But we all need to get into a room, not a freaking virtual room, a physical room with people in it. Rent a meeting room at a hotel or some shit, or have it in your corporate meeting room in Illinois. I don't care. And get people like me and customers and vendors and service providers, business owners, and get in a room and go, okay, this is a great idea, like many, but it's not working. What can we do to fix it or improve it? Kaizen style management, team philosophy, customer, employee, vendor, service provider empowerment, because you don't know. You can't figure it out. Okay, let's figure it out. Let's go. Because it's not going to work until you do. This is why. Problem solving. Management 101. Is it a problem or a symptom? Well, I think magic software is a problem, but a lot of it are symptoms, and the symptoms are addressed, not the problems. And then, it doesn't work, so we'll do this, or we'll upgrade that, or this option, or that. And you're getting all this feedback, and you're probably implementing the stuff that you agree with, and I don't know what gives you that right, unless you ran a service company before. I don't know how you have the accolades or the experience and knowledge to make that decision when people are telling you different. And some of it has to be filtered out, but probably most of it don't. And it's all for the best intent of the industry. Because if you don't figure it out, AI is. And then I had a conversation with Gemini Pro about an inventory system, and I said, okay, this is what I need to do. This is the parameters. What do you think? And I go, okay. I go, well, here, what about this? And I put in my system that worked for 20 years. It'll work till the end of time. And it goes, oh, yeah. And by doing that, we'll increase efficiency and this and that. And it was like, I was teaching Gemini how to fucking do truck inventory and warehouse inventory system, soup to nuts. And I told it, I go, that's because you're thinking like a computer and a number cruncher and logistics and all other fucking shit. It doesn't work. I don't even know if I have the conversation. I can see if it is, if it's still in the, because I'm not a big AI fan. I think it's a encyclopedia on steroids and good for reference, but not to do things for you, whatever that means. Not going to replace people. It will, but it's not. That's not. That's like saying an encyclopedia is going to replace a teacher. I guess, but that's not what it's for. It's reference. So whatever. I can go on and on and on, and that's 1:30. I'm done. An hour and 30 minutes. If it makes sense, great. If it don't, oh, Tim, you're old school. You know what you're talking about. You're old. You're full of shit. Fuck you. Goodbye. Okay, that's fine. Because it don't matter to me. Or, you know what? Yeah. You know what? Yeah. And think about it. Instead of judge and go, oh, that's full of shit. That never happened. He's a liar. No, I'm not. I'm not. I'm telling you the truth.
What's the line? You can't handle the truth.
Yeah. I guess not. I don't know. I really don't know. Truth lies in there somewhere, but it ain't going to be found if we don't talk about it. And that's my objective. So I never will mislead you or misinform you or anything. So use this at your own risk, I guess I should say, to cover my ass. But I'm not telling you something that don't work. If you try something and you kind of do it, and then you do what you want to do, that's on you. But at least think about it. The money that you can save is absurd. I would say minimum, and just the short, small things I shared today will save you at least 10% on your R&M. At least. I'm sure of it. Positive. Over a period of time. 1 to 2 years, get your store in shape. You will save at least 10%. Minus inflation, if you want to, be fair. I'm not selling anything. I'm not doing anything. I'm sharing my knowledge based on my experience in time. Something I don't have a lot left of. Something you have plenty of. Collaborating and listening and keeping an open mind is what's going to fix all this stuff. And calling things out for what they are and putting our egos at the door. That's it. Simple as that. Comments, questions, suggestions, whatever. That's fine. I don't care. Leave them. Don't leave them. Share it. But we got a lot to go. I would like to do this on and be a consultant and just tell you, whether you're a customer, service technician, business owner, manufacturer, vendor, parts supply, distributor, whatever. Whatever. I have the knowledge and experience. And I'm willing to share it. But it's up to you if you want to hear it. That's it. Thanks for listening. Please share this and have a great day.